Hi there. It's nice to see you once again. Well, December has arrived, and many of us, once December comes, start to think about gifts. And hopefully, if you're thinking about gifts, you're thinking about the gifts that you could give other people. Now this year, gift giving is going to be a little different, and many of us can't go shopping, so I have a wonderful solution. I'm going to give you some ideas for making your own gifts. We will be giving art to each other this time of year. So, I have always said that the best presents of all are the ones that are handmade. And I know I still have all the presents that my children made for me when they were little. So today, I'm going to show you how to make a winter deer. You're going to learn how to look for shapes to make an animal, and then you're going to learn to blend your paints to get the colors you want to make this present. So stay tuned and I'll show you.
So for this project, you're going to need a piece of blue construction paper, a planning pencil, probably an eraser. I'm using a white pencil for my planning pencil because it'll show up better. You'll also need your paints, a paintbrush, and maybe a yellow oil pastel. And of course, don't forget your cup of water. So let's get started. It's also helpful to have a picture of what you're trying to paint. So I'm going to post a picture of this deer, or you might get a picture of a deer. Let's look at the shapes first of all. Do you notice the head? If you turn on your side, it's kind of like half of a pear. This line goes down, but it gets a little fatter at the bottom. A nice curved line for the back. The antlers, 3 little shapes. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to take my white pencil and I'm going to figure out about where my deer will have its head. Probably right about there. I'm going to start with that almost straight line there. And then half a pear. Might even be helpful to turn it on its side. I'll see if that works for me. Worked pretty well. I might want it a little bigger. So I am just going to go like this and make that bigger. And when I paint, that line will go away. If it really bothers me, I can erase it. So I have my basic shape of my head. I'm looking at this one so I can see what it's shaped like. His little nose. It's got a nice eye. Kind of a football shape with a circle in the middle. Okay. Next, I think I'll do its neck. It's not quite a straight line down. It's a line that starts here, but goes out a little bit. I think I'll make this come in. And then here, they have delicate necks, but it gets fatter at the bottom. And then how about its back goes across like that. Now I need its little ears. Maybe I'll put one here and one here, and its little antlers. This is a young deer, so it doesn't have really big antlers. And I think I'm ready to get my paints out. I'm pretty well done. I just realized I want to make this another line here for the white part of my deer. Okay, I've got this white part, then a gray part over here. Okay, so I'm pretty well set, I think. I think I'm okay with my shapes. So now I'm going to get my paints ready. Today, I'm going to need some gray, and there's no gray in your paint set, so you're going to mix it. But it's not just one shade of gray, it's 2 shades of gray, or maybe even 3. So, first of all, we're going to need our white. I'm getting that wet first, so it stays clean, and some black. Okay, so I'm going to start by painting this part of the deer, which is a little bit darker. So, okay, I'm going to add some white to my black here. And you know what I think would be a good idea? Is to have a piece of test paper. So I'm going to quickly grab a little piece of test paper, and I can try out my colors over here. That's not a bad shade. Maybe that's pretty good. I'll put a little on. Oh, that looks very dark, so I'm going to add some white to it. And if my white gets dirty, that's fine because I will be able to clean it up later. Okay, now let's try. Perfect. A little darker. It's really up to you. In fact, you get to paint it whatever color you want. If you wanted a blue deer, I guess you could paint a blue deer. That wouldn't show up too well on the blue background. A pink deer. In fact, if you wanted to do another animal, you could. I'm just using a deer because it's a good way to learn about shapes. So here's my deer. Notice I'm going around his eyes, okay? And I want that same darkish color for this side of his neck, where you see a little bit of his back fur. And since I've got that dark color, I think I'll use it over here on his back as well. And it doesn't have to be all perfectly the same. It might be some areas are a little bit darker, some are a little lighter. What do you think will look nice? I'm going to do a dark line here. Okay, so that's not looking too bad. Now it's time to mix up this light color for the underside of the deer. And I just added more white, more mixing around to get more white in it. And that color looks pretty good. Maybe a touch of black. You get to decide for yourself. Most often we don't think of gray as being a pretty color, but in this case, I think it looks very nice, quite elegant, especially if you get different shades of gray. Sometimes it takes a few coats to cover this blue construction paper. And remember, when you use these paints, sometimes you have to go over it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 times to get it the color you want. Okay. Now I'm hiding my pencil lines now. Okay. So now for the ear. The ear has 2 colors. It's got the underside of the ear and the inside of the ear. I think I'll do the inside of the ear like that. And then we'll do the underside with the darker gray. And shall we make those antlers a darker gray with maybe some white highlights? There's the darker gray. And I think I'm going to put black along the edges on the underside, and maybe a little lighter gray on top. I'm going to hide my pencil line. And I'm going for the black. Need black for the nose. Right here, some nice black for the nose. Ooh, I like that. And up before I do, well, I think I'll do my black eye right there, but I'm going to leave a little part unpainted so it looks like the reflection. Okay, use the tip of your brush for that. Now I'm going to use a very pale gray, almost white, to outline the eye. And I'm going to have to be careful since I already have that black there. Hold my paintbrush steady. Oh, that worked. Probably would have been smarter to paint this part first and then the black of the eye. But I was careful, so it worked. If you're nervous about the eye, you could always add that later with a Sharpie. Now you notice on this deer, it has some nice texture. But before I add that, I want it to dry a little bit. So I'm going to work on the stars. There are a couple ways I can make the stars. So you can make your stars with crayons, like this, which aren't as bright, or you can use paint. I think I'm going to mix a little bit of white paint into my yellow to make it nice and bright. If you add white to colors, they show up better on a dark background. And I'm going to add a touch of red to brighten it up. And I'm just going to put some lines together to make my stars. Going over it more times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, to make it nice and bright. Put as many stars as you want, or as few as you want. The final touch is to clean off our white and add snow and the texture on our deer. So I'm going back to my white more and more times so it'll really show up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just adding little dashes of white to give my deer some texture. Looks like his fur, little dashes here and there. You decide what looks nice, and you may look at mine and say, oh, I like it without. So you decide if you want to add the white texture or not, or if you want to add it with a craypaw. And now for the final touch, which every winter scene needs, and that's snow. The snow is coming down in this picture. I could do it just by paintbrush dabs, but I want mine a little bigger, so I am going to do something kind of funny. I'm going to get my paint quite wet, and I'm going to use my baby finger, dip it in, rub it around, and dab it here and there for snow. And the nice thing about this is if I'm using it for a present, it needs a little more water, my fingerprints will be part of the picture. So have fun, let it start snowing, and when you're all done, before you give it as a gift to somebody, could you send me a picture of your work? Because I can't wait to see it. Bye-bye.